feel like Mike Jordan. Give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Big League Chicago. Bienvenidos todos a Big League Chicago.
Love it. Yes.
Was I spit this out? Check this out.
I mean, I could have done it too, but I didn't want to, go upstairs, change. I finished the podcast kind of late, got into a conversation kind of late too as well. So I stuck to what I represented today, and the presentation jacket of the qualifiers, and
I love it.
My USA shirt under.
There you go. I love it. And the reason, if you guys just tuned in to EAFP with Eric, obviously we got the World Cup going on. So not only that, we got Mexico playing tomorrow, but we've also got Monday Night Football between the Cardinals and the 49ers in Mexico City tonight. So wearing this for two reasons.
That's right. It is, isn't
everything.
It?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Got to support it all around. So thank you for joining us again here on Big League Chicago, brought to you by Star 6 Media. And we got a pretty good show for you guys today. We got Bears breakdown to start off. Then we're going to go into the Sea Red segment, talk a little bit of Hawks and the emotional homecoming of Marian Hossa later today. And then we're going to end it off, like always, 4 stars of the week. Eric, let's get into Bears breakdown. Oh. What happened here? Like this was another game. I feel like down the stretch, it just sucked at the end of it.
Yeah. It was a downer. And the only reason why I felt like a downer is simply because you just felt like the offense couldn't get it together at all after halftime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just felt off. And it was bound to happen. I mean, you couldn't have you couldn't have any other way. I mean, it was bound to happen. You can't keep this going on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, right? When you just barely started getting good. I know. You know what I mean? Like it eventually, success will hinder a little bit, but even though on top of that, right? You got to find a way. You just need to find a way.
And that's what we were talking about last week, just you got to find a way to beat teams like this, because you don't want to end up being the Lions like at all. And somehow they've already pulled off 3 wins in a row. So maybe you do want to kind of be like the Lions. So just to kind of give you guys a breakdown of what happened, quarter one, we came out 7-7 tie. Mariota threw a 2-yard touchdown pass to Drake London. Then Fields followed that up with a 16-yard touchdown pass to Mooney at the end of the second quarter. Again, going into a tie. Bears had a field goal by Santos, and then Fields rushed for a touchdown. Patterson had a kick return touchdown, and then Younghoe Koo had a field goal for the Falcons. Then came quarter 3, and that's kind of where the game was really lost, right? Because Mariota had a touchdown run. They ended up coming up, coming on top of the Bears, 24-17. And then into quarter 4, we had a Montgomery touchdown run to make it, even at 24, but Younghoe Koo had a field goal to make it 27-24. And then obviously we had the last 2-minute drill from Fields, tipped pass, interception. And that's pretty much what ended the game. Initial thoughts on that too, like the play calling by Getsy in that 2-minute drill, super questionable, super, I don't know.
Even before that, Rick, even waiting before that, just the entire second half. Just the entire second half was just mind-boggling in itself. You were seeing it. I mean, the best evaluation you could get is your own 2 eyeballs, and you could kind of see that it wasn't the day for Justin Fields. Whatever the case may be, whatever reason that case was, whether if it was cramps, whether if it was this, whether if it was that, Justin Fields from halftime on wasn't right.
Yeah.
So like if we can see that, you and I sitting in our couches drinking beer, whatever the case, whatever we're doing, If we can see that, I don't know how Luke Getsy can't. And he's a professional offensive coordinator on a professional football team that can't see that. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's another disappointing loss.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's look, it's great that the Bears are in every game so far within the last 4 weeks, except for the Cowboys, right? But to be honest, they still went toe to toe with them offensively, putting up numbers and so on and so forth, right? Cool. I get that. That's fine and that's dandy. Hell, we haven't seen the Bears score 30 points consecutively in I don't know when. I can't even tell you.
Like
That's how long it's been. Not at least in my lifetime that I can remember. Because I would have remembered that like the back of my hand. But the case may but with that being said, Rick, it's kind of like I don't know. It's just disappointing to see that again and again, even though we don't expect a lot from this team.
And this was one of the points too we made last week when we were talking about the game against Detroit. You know, when Fields went in and rushed for that like 2-yard touchdown against Detroit and absolutely laid out that Lions defender, we were like, okay, like that could have easily been Fields on the floor, you know, wincing in pain. And it almost seemed like in this game, like you were saying, if we could see that Fields obviously wasn't himself and that Getsy somehow couldn't see that, like he was hurt. He was hurt with all those designed runs. Like he was rushing, he was getting hit. And then towards the end of it, you know, he injured his non-throwing shoulder. Luckily, and you know, it turned out it was a dislocation, possibly. I think Eberflus said earlier today in a press conference. So a lot of the clamor too on Twitter, at least when I was on, was why are we running the ball? You know, why are we doing this? Let's pass the ball a little bit. We need to start seeing that progression, I guess, this season and let Fields do what he does on the ground when he needs to, not necessarily like, hey, let's just keep running a quarterback design run. Let's keep running Fields out, you know, on these. No, let's get some to Mooney. Let's get some to Kmet now. Let's get some to Claypool, because now we have these weapons that have either emerged in Mooney and Kmet or we have acquired in Claypool, because that's going to help out immensely to his progression as a passer. And, you know, that's kind of one of the biggest points that happened yesterday against Atlanta was Justin Fields in that 2-minute drill, running the ball a lot. I think they had maybe two timeouts and, you know, whatever the case may have been. But why are we running Fields? He got hit, and, you know, the refs were not calling these late hits. By the way, there was one in which one of the defenders from Atlanta tried to punch the ball out. Sure, I get that, but he hit him in his non-throwing shoulder, pretty much in that same area, right? So a combination of that, the play calling, it just seemed rough for Getsy in the offense yesterday, and not to mention the offensive line, which was struggling hard yesterday. I think Braxton Jones was the only highest graded offensive lineman in yesterday's game.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was just weird. As I'm looking right now at the game right now, and they have that beautiful Mexican flag, you know, with the national anthem, Mexican national anthem. God, Jesus, gotta get that one right, and especially for tomorrow, for real. But real quick, let's go to the Facebook comments. For some reason, CP's comments are not popping up here, so I'm reading them through my phone. What up, CP? No. Real quick, CP says, keep them L's up. I want that number 1 pick. He said, Getsy got Fields hurt without a question. And then he said, you're going to keep calling these design runs knowing he's hurt. It's just not smart calls. That's from CP. Tony and I are here on the Facebook comments so we can see. CP, fix your phone, bro, so we can put them online and watch them and read them right here. So I won't go on my phone and see that, bro. No, I'm just kidding. You're good. Fields is our Lord and Savior. Prayers he stays healthy. And here's a question. Here's a question from Tony. He says, you guys think that the Bears should get a defensive or offensive player in the first round in the draft? Yes, we need a wide receiver. Yes, we need wide receiver help. But the defense is also getting smoked. Having Fields to continue to run every play is going to get him injured, pretty much. That's what he's trying to say. And you're absolutely right. Me personally, I have always said, and I'm going to continue to say this, unless if it's a highly rated offensive lineman, then you know it's a grand slam, smackdown, home run hitting, grand slam, DH, whatever the case may be, whatever saying that it is, unless if he's out there, the best possibility for you to get is always a defensive rusher, because those are the easiest ones to get that early, that high up, that quickly.
Yep.
And if you need the pressure from the quarterback to help the defense, the secondary, with a player who comes off the edge or comes up the middle, whatever the case may be, whatever the position he is, whatever type of player he is, you can always find those defensive ends quickly in the first round, high in the draft, than you normally would in the latter half of the draft.
Yeah, and I would agree too. I would 100% go defense in the first round. I think I saw something where the Bears right now with that loss to Atlanta yesterday are number 3.
Yes, sir.
For the first round pick. 100% go with the defensive guy. The Bears always seem to hit on defense and running backs in the first round. Like that is their like bread and butter in the first round. So go defense 100%. And I'm not saying don't draft a wide receiver, but like you said, wait till the later round. See, with Mooney and with the addition of Claypool, like we have some pretty solid wide receivers now, especially with the connection that they're forming. But I wouldn't waste a first round draft pick on a wide receiver off the gate just because, like I said, they don't hit on offensive talent in the first round. They just don't.
Well, yeah, but again, at the same time, though, it's kind of that what's that like? It's saying you can say that, but they're solid wide receivers, but they're not number one wide receivers by any case may be, right? And that's the thing right there. It's like, yes, you need a wide receiver, you need a defensive end, you need this, you need that, you need all of this. So that's why you have 120 some odd $1 million in cap space to help you
free agency
create that void to where whatever you need to focus on the draft is whatever. Again, personally, there is no defensive player that I've seen so far on the free agency board next year that's going to be the one person that I wanted. He got signed, and that's Bradley Chubb. Cool. Yeah. Great. That's out of the picture. After that, it's kind of like, okay, who else? So if you're going to be picked in the top 3, case may be, right? If they're going to be staying in that top 3, and then the offensive the defensive end or linebacker, whatever the case may be, whoever he is, the one in Alabama is up there.
Yeah.
That's the one that you got to get, and that's a no-doubter simply because you need help in the pass rushing game. Now, you could get them both in the free agency and the draft. Cool. You might get your number 1 wide receiver, hopefully, if he's out there in the draft. Cool. I don't mind that. But as talent comes, the defensive players always show out every single year in every single draft. Coming out of the top picks. Like if you normally see it, you rarely see a wide receiver go as high as 2, 3, maybe if that. But you always see every year in and year out, defensive end, defensive tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle, offensive lineman is another one too as well. So, and then I know the Bears need both. So, like I said, it's easy. It's more easier getting your defensive end for sure before you get your tackles or wide receivers.
Yeah, and like you said, you mentioned Alabama. I forget his name right now because I've seen his name too, and he is. I
got you.
I think he's absolutely 100% like already like top 2, top 3 picks, and you see what Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan is doing in Detroit, right? Like, yeah, there has been times where defensive ends, rushers like that don't hit, but I mean more times than not, it seems like this first round talent that's coming out of college for defensive rush and edge rushers is just the top talent in that. Giving away Robert Quinn, trading away Robert Quinn, trading away Roquan Smith, obviously hurt. But you see guys also kind of step up like Jack Sanborn, who's a rookie on the Bears, who can possibly be good. He's I think in the 3-4 games that he's played, he's gotten double-digit tackles in at least 2. And he can disrupt, the run. He's one of those guys that can absolutely plug the hole there for the run and make sure to get those tackles.
I found the guy. Will Anderson from Alabama.
Will Anderson. I think that's going to be your new Bears edge rusher for next year. I hope so. I really hope so.
Either him or Jalen Carter from Georgia. Him too. He's also having a beast year too down there.
Yeah. And I noticed that there was a lot of these guys polls, and a couple other scouts were at the, I believe, Ohio State game a couple days ago in Northwestern.
Yes.
So they're looking, they're there. It's good to see that too. They're at these top schools where they're looking at the talent from the top colleges in the US Whereas before, it didn't seem like we never got a name from a big college like that, like a Michigan or an Alabama or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's good to see that they're there, looking at the talent, because the Bears are going to need a lot of it.
And that's a good segue for this one for CP. What he says: if you don't see any Hall of Fame talent in the top of the draft, I say trade down for more picks. Someone will be desperate enough for one of those quarterbacks at the top. And I that is also, to me, that's always my play, right? I will always have that card available no matter what. Like, okay, cool. If I don't see the player that I like, and I've seen all these other players around them, okay, maybe I like this player, but he's not too high. And like CP said, there's gonna be teams looking for that quarterback. You know, Bryce Young, the dude from Alabama, and I was already in here. And I should have just thought of the names after I seen this. You're right. I mean, quarterbacks are always heavy. Bryce Young from Alabama. Let me see. We got the dude from Ohio State, CJ Stroud, too, as well. That's another one. You know, the Bears don't need one.
Yeah.
And obviously, you see how much picks you get back from teams to trade up to get that quarterback. Hell, look what the Bears did with Justin Fields.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly
what the Bears did for Mitch Trubisky. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus more. I mean, Johnny Manziel, what they traded for him too as well. Who else was another quarterback that went up that they got? I mean, even Patrick Mahomes went up too as well.
That's right. Get him.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson too was traded. You know, the Texans traded up for him too as well. It's like teams will pay you a good amount of draft picks for not only this year but next year or the next year after that.
Yeah.
For them to get their quarterback that they want, knowing that they can't get them if they're that high up. But if you're a team like the Chicago Bears, if you're willing to take that risk of getting more draft picks, knowing that you need more help in this team, for the third pick in the NFL draft or second, whatever the case may be, whatever they drop, teams will pay you a hefty amount of draft picks.
Yep.
For you to build your team that way.
Or even trade for a player too. If you can get a good player, you know, like defensive, offensive linemen, something like that, why not?
Exactly.
Right? Why not?
And this is another one too. Look at the 49ers with Trey Lance. Exactly. Another perfect example of a guy who got traded, matter of fact, got traded ahead of Justin Fields for what they paid for. Imagine Justin Fields with the 49ers right now.
Oh man, he'd be deadly. He would be absolutely deadly.
You know, right. San Fran gave up a lot of picks for Trey. That's true too. Just for him to. I mean, unfortunately, he's hurt. And but Jimmy Garoppolo right now everybody was more happy. I mean, imagine Justin Fields with San Francisco right now. Like you said, deadly.
And there's a lot of talk as well. I've seen this, more recently about Saquon possibly joining the Bears next year. Could you imagine that rushing game? That would be insane too. I don't think it'll happen, but I mean, it's nice to think about.
Yes, it's nice to think about, but are we going to need a running back? Probably, depending what you're going to give the situation for David Montgomery. I don't mind David Montgomery at all as a Bear right now, right? I don't mind it at all. I really don't. I don't. But think about how much you have to pay for Saquon, though. You know how much are you really? And that's the thing. Like, it's Saquon Barkley. He's been injured a lot, right? He's finally having a healthy season, and it's good for him. Good for him that he's finally healthy. And look what they have done with with the Giants, right? It's been really, really good. But, do you really want to pay a running back? Look at, Ezekiel Elliott. Ever since he got paid, how has he been? Todd Gurley. Ever since he's played, where is he at?
Yeah.
Who else got paid that I'm trying to think of in the back of my head? I mean, Christian McCaffrey now.
And even look at players that people were like, you should pay, like a Melvin Gordon, who can't hold on to the ball to save his life, and then gets waived by the Broncos. Today. Yeah. So it definitely don't pay a running back. But I mean, if we're talking like a Derrick Henry, maybe I would say maybe pay Derrick Henry, because that guy just has proven throughout games that he is just solid, no matter what quarter it is, no matter what game it is, no matter against who it is. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter. So the Bears have a lot of options for the draft, and one of the things that I also kept hearing is like, will Getsy actually leave for a head coaching position? And to be honest, I don't think so. Because you look at a game like yesterday, and he couldn't develop a 2-minute drill series of plays in order to win the game. So when you're losing, I mean, the Bears, this is the Bears' 4th loss in a row. They're 3-8 right now.
Yeah, and, but what they're gonna see is in that time frame what the offense looked like from the Patriots game to what was last week's game? The Lions game? Was that last week's game?
Yeah.
And they're gonna see that. And then obviously that's the successful part. Now you're just going to, okay, now you have your downfall. How are you going to perform next week? And then how long is that going to be sustainable? That can help him, right, too, as well. But again, you're right. At the same time, it's like they're going to, if they don't look at the pivotal points like last week, like yesterday's game against the Falcons, you know, maybe he's not that good of a head coach. I mean, I don't know what type of head coach he's going to be. If he's going to be like Matt Eberflus, like, okay, I'm a head coach, but this is my offense, but this guy's calling it, or I'm the head coach and the offensive coordinator. It just depends. We got Johnny P, Johnny Parlay, Johnny wishes he was your man on the comments saying, imagine Fields with Saquon. And he says, yes, it's going to happen. He's definitely going to believe that Saquon's going to go to the Bears. Plus, you add on a wide receiver in there too. So that's just him. He says we got the money. It's true. We do. We got the money to pay almost
tons of money.
Whatever we want. You know, I mean, I'm just afraid of the overpay. That's one
true.
thing.
Yep.
CP in the comments. What's up, CP? He says he finally got it fixed. CP's finally on the comments. He got it fixed. He says no running back. No running backs are a dime a dozen. He's gonna want top dollar considering the year he had. Herbert could even be a starter if he's that good. Johnny P continues having the argument with CP saying a star player might actually want to come here. We cannot be cheap. He goes, Le'Veon Bell. Sorry, I'm clicking a lot. Le'Veon Bell got paid and his talent disappeared. That's what CP said, going to the Jets. I remember that one too. Johnny P says, Corey, Bell's success came from the Steelers' O-line, which was, I mean, they were.
Yeah,
we're just going on the conversation. I love this conversation.
He went to the Jets and absolutely just, didn't do anything.
Adjust the O-line and defense on the draft. Use the cap money to get starters. CP says there's too many holes to be spending a quarter of that cap on running back, and it's not a smart move. If the Cowboys could take that Zeke contract back, I bet they would. And then he says we really lost to Marcus Mariota. Johnny says that. And CP goes the same O-line that knocked Big Ben into retirement.
So much to open there, and I just want to like John said, we lost to Marcus Mariota. That's rough to even think about, And after the game he had against Carolina the week before, I would have thought this was kind of gonna, this is gonna be better. But the Bears defense again, giving up 27 points, and you gotta give them credit at some points because the Cordero Patterson return was more on the special teams coverage. That was 100% on them, right? So maybe we could make the argument that they only let up 20 points, really, right? But there's still a lot of holes to fill in the defense. And Kyler Gordon went out with an injury. And then we also had Trevin Gibson injured in the game as well, but which, by the way, one of the announcers kept pronouncing his name like Trevin Gibson.
What was it? Didn't I hear Travis at one point?
I kept hearing Trevin.
Trevin, right? Okay.
Like, Trevin Gibson is. I'm just like, what is this pronunciation? But
I'm not gonna lie. Before we go on, I'd rather have the mispronunciation of a player and the crew that we had yesterday than having Mark Sanchez last week. Because oh my god, I found Mark Sanchez so annoying.
Yeah,
annoying.
Oh. The guys yesterday were actually like, hey, the Bears are doing really good. They were talking good stuff about the Bears. I forget who it was on the announcements, but yeah, it was good.
That I could care less. I could care less if they talk smack about the Bears or they talk good about the Bears. I can care less. Can you narrate me a game? Because other than watching the game, the next thing I have to do is to listen to someone's voice every single second or every other second in the game. So if you're giving me somebody annoying like Mark Sanchez, who sounded like a wannabe Tony Romo as a commentator, that's the annoying part. I don't mind what you say about the Bears. I don't care what you say about the Bears, good or bad. I give 2 rats patootie. Just don't be annoying. And that's what Mark Sanchez was last week. It was annoying. It was to the point where I muted my television because I didn't want to hear him.
Sanchez is trying to get paid like Romo. That's why. That's
but you
the
know
reason
what, dude? It's ridiculous how much money these commentators get for. I mean, look how much money Tony Romo got just to be a comment, just that to be the head man, the color commentator of CBS.
It's insane what they got.
Him, I think Colin Collinsworth, whatever the dude's name for NBC.
Yep, Collinsworth.
Yep. The dudes right now for Monday Night Football, how much do they got paid right now? Troy and Joe Buck.
Yeah,
like, dude, like it's ridiculous how much that is, and I get it. Mark Sanchez is probably the biggest name on the Fox color commentary one right now at the moment, simply because they lost, Aikman and oh my God, Joe Buck.
Yep.
But this is a 12 o'clock slot game. I'd rather have Akeem Talib there than Mark Sanchez, to be honest with you. And him with his long gold chain, like that's a true representation of a man coming out and having nothing and coming out on top.
Oh man.
Anyways, back to that. Oh, well, let's go to the comments before we go back to the conversation. Sorry. But CP said, John says that his arm was retired before the line was. He also goes to Corey saying that the killer bees with Bell, Brown, and a lot of that was credit to the O-line and the Hall of Fame coach, which is true. That's true. I got a fan. I got a fan saying someone who hates Mark Sanchez so much. And then we're about to get that into right now about Fields' shoulder injury. And then every time he talks, all I hear is butt fumble.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Same. But yeah, the question that John says, man, how do you feel? What do you think about the injury that Justin Fields sustained in yesterday's game?
That's what I heard earlier today was it was possibly a shoulder dislocation from his non-throwing arm, right? Which is good, but it still sucks because the injury, or at least it seemed like he was injured well before that 2-minute drill when we were talking about those designed runs for him, right? Like, let's call some pass plays instead. And it looked like when they were getting to him, when he was sliding, there was a few calls that were missed by the refs, which, by the way, if you caught my Instagram and like on TikTok, find the refs, #find the refs, because this is BS. Anyway, I'm hoping, because Eberflus did say he's day-to-day right now. At this point, at 3-8 on the season, probably not going to do anything. I would, if he's not 100% to go on Sunday against the Jets, throw Trevor Siemian on there. There's no reason why you should put Fields out there right now. And because you run the risk of it continuing throughout the rest of the season, right? We have 7 more weeks left. And if it continues and we're doing runs for Fields, like how is that going to be, good for his development, good for anything, really? I mean, I know he's a competitor and he's a tough guy. Fields has proven that he is one of the toughest guys in the NFL, especially as a running quarterback. But absolutely keep Trevor Siemian if he's not 100%. And if it's just a dislocation, they just popped it back in, still, I would take the precaution and give him at least the next 2 weeks off to kind of come back from that.
If there's any reason for Justin Fields to play on Sunday is for him to get murdered.
Yep.
If he wants to have a suicide thought, note, mental, whatever it is.
Jets defense is good too.
Right.
The Jets
that's
defense
a death wish.
Good.
Yeah, that defense is really, really good. That's really, really good. But but in all honesty, though, it's also an opportunity to where it's a good defense. But also, I feel like I don't want to sound so optimistic, because every time I sound so optimistic, I feel like I'm dumb the next day simply because the Bears defense says something. But geez, dude, 3 points yesterday from the Jets offense in total.
Yeah.
I mean, I know your wife is a Jets fan, but come on, bro, 3 points. I can do better than 3 points. I can do 6. I can do better than that. Okay,
we still got to see you kick those field goals for the Jets. That's
for
what it
real.
is.
Just give me that. Not even. I'll be the quarterback, handoffs and a quick dime. Whatever the case may be, I could have still gave 6 points, guaranteed 6 points. But it's that fantasy that we live in week in and week out, and it's just kind of like you see a team that we play perform bad, and it's like. We have a shot, like we have this opportunity, and then they play is just kind of, and then they blow them out for like 20, 25, 30 points. It's like, I don't want to do this. So
That's what I'm saying.
If he's hurt, then I agree with you on. Look, I rather for him to not. It's the Jets. It's the freaking Jets.
Yep.
Who cares about the Jets? No disrespect to your wife and her team, but it's the freaking Jets. Who cares? Next week after that, we play against the Packers. Give me the Packers before the Jets. Give me anybody else before the Jets.
Yeah.
I'd rather for him to be healthy against the Packers than against the Jets. It's 1 week. Hell, I'll even take a step back. Yes, it's the Packers, and yes, they're more vulnerable than they have ever been right now at this time and at this moment in this period. And if you really want to take that dominant performance, or you really want to say take over the North, and you really need a win against the Green Bay Packers, is probably next week or the week after next. But I'll even take a step back. Who cares about the Packers and if they beat us or not here in Chicago? Who cares? I'd rather have Justin Fields to have 3 weeks off, because after the Packers game, they get the bye week. But then they also get the Bills and the Eagles too on top of that here at home. So it's kind of like, toss 22 whichever way you want to go. But I'd rather for Fields to be 100% healthy than just putting him out there.
And that's what I think the attitude should be at House Hall right now is, we know what we've got in Fields. We know that this line that we're putting out in front of him is not going to protect him enough for a Jets defense that just sacked Mac Jones 6 times last week, right? We know that this offensive line is not going to do it, especially with Schofield and Riley Reef and Mustafa and whoever else you got out there. So let the attitude right now be, Justin Fields is our quarterback and our franchise QB. Let's protect him at all costs for next year, because there's no way we're making a run at the North. There's no way we're making a run at a wild card right now. Let's protect our guy. Let's give him the next 2 games off plus the bye week. See how he can perform against who was it, the Eagles or the Bills, whoever it is after that. See how he's doing, and if he's still not doing right, if it's still lingering, sit him the rest of the year. Let Trevor Siemian do what he does as a backup, and then let the Bears go into next year as NFC North favorites, hopefully, because depending on how the draft goes, depending on who they can pick up in free agency, that's what I expect the Bears to go into next year, into next season, as possibly favorites, or at least a wild card favorite, at least to contend next year for the playoffs. So that's kind of my attitude and what I think Ryan Poles. And I don't think Ryan Poles is a dumb guy either. I think he knows exactly what he has. I think Justin Fields has proven to him that, hey, I can be your guy 100%. You just need to put weapons around me, and we need to upgrade the defense a little bit more, because so far the secondary has been has done the best, but we need that front 7 to really, really solidify this defense.
100%. Let's go to the Facebook comments real quick, because we got a lot. We got a lot on here. CP agrees. If it lingers, send him down. Oh, no. He said if he lingers, send him for the year. No point of risking his health. And the playoffs are just a dream at the moment. John said that Justin Fields looked like the United States men's national team if they were playing the Qatar. That's how he said how Justin Fields looked like. CP says throw Cuddy in there. Cuddy,
let's go.
Cuddy, our buddy.
Throw color.
Cuddy, John's buddy. That's the one. If there's any other guy that loves Jay Cutler more than Mitchell Trubisky, is John right there. CP goes, love you guys, but where's Jose? I miss his anger. He's actually, it's his anniversary with his girl today, so happy anniversary to the compadres, actually, because they're both my compadres. So happy anniversary to them. What is it? 3, 4 years, something like that.
Oh,
so
nice.
Good for them. John's going on the limb, said if Simeon starts, I'm taking the Bears on the money line. Jackie Stiff, Jack, what's going on, man? He says great quarterback right there. I'm assuming he's saying he's saying Jay Cutler. He said I got 102 fever and I'm still scoring more than 7.
I believe it. Jack almost scored for the U.S. men's national team today in Qatar. So.
He almost did, didn't he? CP says Jets win off of 2 safeties, 4-3. Wow.
Trevor Siemian can't run like Fields can.
John says the goddamn Jets. That's what he says. CP congratulate Jose and the comadre for their anniversary. So congrats to them. And it goes right here. The NFC is wide open. If the Bears draft and spend right, I don't believe Philly, Minnesota, or Dak Prescott.
Oh, that's a good one.
Interesting. And you know what? You're right, because
hot take.
And you're right. It is a hot take, but it's a hot take that I don't mind getting burned at because simply and oddly enough, I agree with CP here because there's nobody in the NFC that really scares me or that really, makes me believe like they are the favorites to come out of that conference. We just saw Minnesota, which was the second best team in this division, get their butts blown out by the Cowboys.
Yep.
And it wasn't even a primetime game, but
Just
you could tell that
regular
the talent
game
level
on Sunday.
exactly. You could tell that the talent level in Dallas is way more superior to the quarterback that they have right there in Minnesota. Let's go to Philly. Philly last week they lost their undefeated streak against the Commanders, and they struggled against who was it that they played? Was it the Lions? I don't remember who. What?
No, it wasn't the Lions. I forget who it was. I know. Oh, just this past week, you mean?
Yesterday, yes.
Oh, they struggled against.
Why am I blanking on the team that they just faced yesterday?
God.
I know we're struggling here. If you guys can help us
Colts,
real quick.
The Colts.
That's who it was. Thank you.
Yep.
That's what it was. Thank you.
The Colts, like, come on, are you serious?
Exactly. They were down 10 nothing, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, cool. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, that's a whole drama and a half right there, right? I think in the Cowboys, the only team that could beat the Dallas Cowboys is the Dallas Cowboys. 100%. They have all the talent in the world with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. The offensive line is still one of the top offensive lines in the league, even though they're looking like they're struggling a little bit, but they're still a primitive top 10 offensive line, right? And the defense is all talented as hell on that part of that team. It's just, can can Dak Prescott really take you over that hump? And that's the $1 million question that we always have. And it's the Dallas Cowboys. Other than that, I mean, look, the defending Super Bowl champions are struggling. The 49ers, we can say that they're the favorites and we can say that they could run through them. But right now, they don't have true command of the NFC West like that. Nope. It's the Seahawks, and I think the Seahawks lost yesterday. No, they were on a bye.
Yeah, they were on a bye.
They were on a bye yesterday. So it's kind of like this is the perfect opportunity for the 49ers to take advantage of that NFC West. But it's kind of like, is it convincing enough simply because of how crappy the Seahawks were supposed to be and how well they are? So it's kind of like another one of those situations to where what you think. But you're right, it's not really that much of a hot take. It's just really just
I don't know.
Honestly.
So I guess the issue with that, right, is like if we're really kind of going to these three top teams in the NFC, right? The Vikings, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. If I were to rate them as far as like who am I worried about more, and could the Bears be better than them? Number one, I'm going Eagles, and then I'm going Cowboys, and then I'm going Vikings. The Vikings, I feel like, yes, they have Justin Jefferson. They have a lot of these guys, but I don't think they can repeat the success they've had this year next year. I think this is going to be probably their best year with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, because they're going to have to draft somebody because he's not going to be able to do what he's been doing this year next year. Justin Jefferson, maybe, but again, it all does rely on Cousins. Can the Bears beat them next year? Again, how CP said, depending on how the draft and what they spend on goes, absolutely. I believe they can. I believe the Bears, and what they have, the draft picks that they have, can 100% go into next year, into the preseason or after the preseason, as favorites to win the NFC North with a healthy Fields. Again, that all depends on how Fields is after the season and if they play in the rest of the year because of his lingering shoulder injury. But I think Philly and the Cowboys, and depending on how the 49ers do if Trey Lance comes back, those are probably the favorites in the NFC. I mean, overall, I think, because the Bucs, they're going to be gone by next year. Tom Brady may retire. Who knows? He may do one more year just to justify his divorce. But that whole NFC South is going down the toilet. Those three teams, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the 49ers, probably the best NFC teams going into next year. And the Bears can 100% be up there with them as long as they draft correctly, they spend the right money, and they keep Fields healthy, and they put weapons around him, and they put a good offensive line around him. Because you could see, right, like this offensive line yesterday was just not not good. They gave up 4 sacks, 25 yards, and this kind of leads into the whole injury thing that we were talking about. Like, not only that, but the penalties killed the Bears yesterday. 7 for 56 yards.
Another bad disciplining
like,
performance by the Bears.
3 weeks in a row. You know, they absolutely just they killed. They like shot themselves in the foot against the Lions. I think it was 9 for almost like 90 yards, and now 7 for almost 60 yards. Like, you guys got to be able to. They have to be able to minimize those mistakes, especially in one of those like gotcha games, I guess it kind of is, right? Like, it was the Falcons, sure, and they have a pretty exciting offense, but coming off a loss against the Panthers, like, come on, you got to take advantage of that. And I know you're in Atlanta, but you still got to be able to take advantage of that. So yeah, I think the Bears can go into next year as one of the top dogs in the NFC, but again, it really depends on Fields' health, really depends on how they manipulate the draft to, you know, for their needs and for whatever money they want to spend too.
No, definitely 100%. I mean, just to go back to the question on the rankings. I mean, me personally, if it was between those 3 teams, if you were give me to rank the Cowboys, the Phillies, the Eagles, and the Vikings, I think the way how I put that order, I will. I think I'll put the Cowboys for how athletic they are on both sides of the ball. No matter Dak Prescott, you can trust them or not. I think the talent around that team just over exceeds everybody else over the Eagles. The Eagles, I mean, defensively, you kind of see them struggling a little bit too. And then you're kind of figuring out how the Eagles play offense too as well.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts still not the same Jalen Hurts. So even though you got Smith and A.J. Brown, but it's the first year. I'll give him that one.
Yeah.
And I don't trust Kirk Cousins at all, no matter what. I mean, he's a solid quarterback that you can win some games, but when it comes to the big games, if I were to choose between Kirk Cousins and Dak all day, easily.
Taking Dak.
Yeah,
100%. And you mentioned Jalen Hurts too. Like, look what they were. They made the playoffs last year as a wild card, and then they were nowhere near as good as they are now. I can 100% see the Bears and Justin Fields doing what they did this year, next year. Like, I could see them doing that.
Well, again, that's more like a wait and see type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the upgrades again have to be there. The draft and the upgrades with the money spent in free agency have to be there for Poles. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think Poles is messing around. He knows what he has, and I think he's going to, you know, pull the trigger on a lot of these moves that are going to make the Bears a really, really good team next year.
For sure. Let's go to the comments real quick on Facebook. It says CP goes, at least in the AFC, you're scared of the Bills or Kansas City or even Baltimore. NFC, you don't really have that dog except for the 49ers. Probably. CP says that the only reason why the Eagles struggled yesterday is because of Jeff Saturday. And it's not surprised. He brought new life to the Indianapolis Colts. So that's where that's why he was not surprised. Every time you need Dak to deliver, he comes up short. And that's a good one too. I mean, he's not wrong. He goes on and says Kirk Cousins will always hold them back. They will never scare me. I have seen Jalen Hurts finish this year strong. Same thing with Dak. I have seen how these guys finish the year. Our boy Uncle Day Day, what's up, buddy? Long time no see. I miss you, bro. Hope you're doing well. He goes says Tom Brady to Vegas. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, maybe.
No, Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady. No, I still want to think. Even with everything what you said about the offense and then the drafting and then the free agency, he still feels like they won't fix their problem. And then he agrees with us. It would be a start if it was just like the Eagles' pathway for Deontay, Uncle Day here. So
yeah. But I mean, this is all kind of wishful thinking, really, on our end, right? Like, to kind of see where we're at.
It's like you kind of snap the wishbone from turkey to for Thanksgiving, and then that's what you wish for health and longevity for the Chicago Bears.
Oh man, you know. So and look, there's a lot of promising things still going on with the Bears, right? Like, for example, Bears controlled possession of the ball yesterday. Of course, I mean, it was more than 10 minutes. They controlled it for 10 more minutes than the Atlanta Falcons. But again, you have to be able to not squander these opportunities when you can score the points, when you can get downfield. We saw it against the Lions. We saw it against the Falcons yesterday. You can control the ball. And like, you know, we were talking about it earlier when we were talking about the World Cup. Yeah, you can control the time of possession, but what are you doing with that time of possession that puts you in a situation where you can win, right? So that's really what has to happen. Another thing is Tevin Jenkins. They were very cautious with him. He actually didn't make an appearance in yesterday's game, but I kind of like where they're going in that direction with Tevin Jenkins, keeping him healthy because he's one of the best offensive line we have. Larry Borum's probably next. And believe it or not, like I was mentioning earlier, Braxton Jones, the best lineman yesterday as far as PFF scored the lineman. And he was a 5th rounder or 4th or 5th round or something like that. So positive things to look at for the Bears. And of course, Justin Fields. Mooney caught a touchdown. Monty is still rushing the ball, getting a touchdown. And then you look at the rookies on the defense. Brisker, 11 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Sanborn, 9 total tackles. So there's still a lot of positive things to kind of look at on this Bears team. But again, we got to look towards the offseason at this point, and we got to keep Justin healthy. Yeah, that's kind of the last comments on the Bears for me. Eric, you got anything else?
Yeah, man. The one thing that I really don't like, and I really hate doing this every single year for the past couple of years already, even when we head to the playoffs, is what Deontay says right here. Hold on, something just popped up and just moved. But Deontay says it's time to rest Justin and to complete the tank. And it's just kind of like I'm already tired of, I want the Bears to be good, but if this is the last year, if I could confidently say this, and I trust Ryan Poles and what he's doing, and if I believe him that this will be the last year, this will be the last year that the Bears will suck, and the Bears will be good from here on out. If you can guarantee me this, then yes, I'll believe this in a heartbeat for sure, 100%.
Yep.
And that's all we want. We just want consistency. I mean, look, no matter, even though what I'm about to say right now, a lot of people are going to hate me. But Matt Nagy took the Bears to the playoffs for 2 out of the 4 years that he was here.
He did.
That's semi-consistency right there, whether you think about it or not. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for it, but to be honest, compared to any other head coach that was here prior to Matt Nagy, I mean that was a semi-consistent playoff runner, or a semi-consistent playoff, even though it looked like ass. He still got us to the playoffs.
It was nice. It was nice.
And it was good to see. It just didn't work out. Corey says, you see how dynamic the Bears can be in spurts. That's why I'm not discouraged by these losses. I'm rather impressed, although, if Getsy keeps calling the plays like he did at the end of the game, looking like the other OC next year.
Hot take.
And he's like, I'm just saying that because to salvage his 11-6 prediction.
Hey, I had him in the playoffs too, so I ain't even
he was tripping when he said that. No, I really wasn't. I really had high hopes for this team, but it's just I never came true. Never came to fruition. So
they win the last 2 games. It's still up, that 11.
I mean, the only way you got me believing, even if it's not 11-6, the only way you got me believing is somehow, some way you beat the Jets, the Packers, the Bills, and the Eagles, and then all of a sudden I'm just giddy all over again.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But it's just it's one of those like, all right, bro, sit down, settle down, relax. It's not gonna happen. But if it happens,
that consistency, right?
Who's that conductor on that train that when it says 11-6? I'm right here.
Yeah.
I have it on. I don't have a hat, but I have it on still, that conductor hat, but it's kind of like half hanging off, half on, half off thing. So
Eric's like halfway done. All right. Well, thank you guys in the comments. That was Bears Breakdown, brought to you by Star 6 Media. Thank you guys for joining us here on this live stream of Big League Chicago. Let's move on to the C-Red segment and talk a little bit about the Bulls. They've played 2 games since we last recorded BLC, and those 2 games have just been absolute trash because that's the last 2 games they've lost. First one was to the Pelicans.
Right?
They're trash. They are trash. And it's tough for me. I don't want to say it's tough for me to say that, but it's.
I hate UCP.
Even Spider-Man couldn't say that.
I hate UCP, but you're probably right though.
It's tough for me to look at a Chicago team and just be absolute trash because I'm a very positive person. I like looking at the things, to kind of keep me hey, they could win these games. Hey, the Bulls look gassed every game. They are really DeMar is the only consistent player on this team. Vooch, consistently getting double-doubles. I'll say that much, but Levine, kind of the same, thoughts about Levine. He's not really performing like he should be. He's getting 25, 27 points here and there. But when you get DeMar scoring 41, it kind of just overshadows whatever you're doing, right? Like you look at DeMar and what he's doing, and you're like, wow, how is he scoring more than our $200 million guy, right? Because the first game, at least within the last two games, they lost to the Pelicans 124 to 110. DeRozan had 28 points. Vooch, again, double-double, 14-10. Levine, 25, 4 from 11 from 3. Caruso with 13 off the bench. And they lost by 14 points with Zion not in the lineup. They were losing to I don't want to say the Pelicans are a bad team, but like with Zion, you think a Pelicans team with Zion, you're like, okay, well, I mean, that's kind of the reason, right? But the Bulls were never in this game. They were never in this game against the Pelicans. And then you go on to the next loss, and that was against the Magic, 108 to 107. Sure, it was on a last-second 3, but Vooch missed 2 free throws that would have put them up by 4. So that would have negated the 3 by Jalen Suggs. And this is a game where DeMar scored 41 points. Levine had only 4 points. Io, 13 points. Vooch, again, another double-double, 14 and 16. But it was that last-second 3 but to really get the game winner. And another old friend, Wendell Carter Jr., leading the Magic with 21 points. It's just like, wow, what's going on here, right? Like how are we giving up on this guy? But
I mean, question. What is the difference that have you seen from the Bulls from January 20th of this year till today? What's the difference that you see in this team?
I don't know. The defense is worse. The defense is much worse. That's kind of it.
And the only reason why I specifically put that date on here, or ask you that question with that specific date, is because that's the date that Lonzo Ball went down with injury.
Oh, yeah.
So, what is the difference other than Drummond, Dragic, Dalen Terry? Outside of that, what is the difference between what happened then and now? Oh, Zach got paid.
Yeah,
that's right. You gave $200 million to a guy who barely cracked top 30. That's the difference there. That's the difference. Yep. Your $200 million player that you paid went 1 for 14. Gotcha. Yeah, right. The $200 million player that you got that was supposed to be your number one scoring player. Right. That's the difference on this squad, right?
You're not wrong.
I agree too. I love that Zach got benched. I completely 100% agree with you, Deontay, that Zach LaVine getting benched was the best thing that happened so far in this young Bull season. Simply because you got to put this guy accountable. You want to get rest days. Yep. You want to have these quote unquote time management days off. Give me constant scoring night in and night out.
Yep.
I don't care. It's an investment that the Bulls shouldn't have made a long time ago. And I've said it, and I kept saying it, and I'll preach it, and I'll keep preaching it no matter what. Basketball hell is what we're looking at right now with the Chicago Bulls. You want that load management time off thing? Give me a good performance back-to-back days. Give me a constant 2 weeks straight of great performance, and I'll get you 2 days off. Give me something. Yep. I don't care what it is. Cap hell, CP, basketball hell. I don't get Chicago hell for all
regular
I care.
Hell.
I don't even care. Hella from hell from Thor. I don't care. I really do not care. I don't. This contract should have never been made. You've done it. You didn't improve this team whatsoever. This record, it's surprising for me because I expect the Bulls to be just a little bit better than what they're proving me right now. But in reality, I'm not that surprised that they're 6-11 or whatever the case may be.
6-10.
6-10.
6-11 after tonight, probably after they lose to the Celtics. So.
Right. And I mean, right now they're winning 51-42.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So 1-14, you can't be paid $200 million to go 1-14. I could go 1-14 for a bag of hot Cheetos, which I don't eat, and a slushie from 7-Eleven. I can do that night in and night out.
Yep.
But not you. Definitely not you. And the fact of the matter is that they want to make this a story in Chicago that Zach LaVine got benched because and he didn't play the last 5 minutes or whatever the case may be, whatever the time was, it was the other day. Like, I mean, hey, Chicago media guys, hello. I know I'm making a startup here and I'm trying to become something here. But if you guys ask the question, how do you feel that you got benched?
Yep.
It's literally in your score box on 1 for 14.
Yep.
Zach, what happened today? Blah, blah, blah. Not how do you feel about being benched? And then you make that into a story. I get it. You want to create stories and stuff like that. But guys, that's not the route to go. He sucked that night, but the criticism's on him, rightfully so, because he is the top earning player in this team, and he's only played half of the game so far this season. And even in the games that he's been on, he's looked like crap.
And games. And he's in most of the games, he's not even the leading scorer for the Bulls. It's DeMar. And I agree with you and with Deontay, right? Like, I'm glad that he got benched because it like you said, show me why I shouldn't bench you in the last 2-3 minutes of the game, because 4 points, 1 for 14, and you can't even hit a 3. That's for you.
I can do that, Rick. I can give you 4 points. I can easily give you 4 points. I can easily give you 6. No doubt. Easily.
And I don't know, man, because like I like the move of signing him because it gave us a legit star on the team. And, obviously star right now is kind of like a stretch for Zach because of the load management and how he's been playing. But man, like he's got to be able to justify this. And we talked about this preseason. We talked about this the first 4 games. Like, he's got to be able to justify this $200 million plus contract, because 4 points in a game against a Magic team that has got young talent and, pretty good with that young talent. You can't do that. You can't let DeMar on a 4-year, I don't know, 50, 60 million contract or something like that outscore you probably like 70% of the games that you two have played together. Can't do that. And then the defense is like, it's insane how bad this defense is, how much of a wet paper towel this defense is. They just let anybody through and they let anybody score. It doesn't matter what team it is. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of watching this Bulls team look like garbage each night. Io has not been consistent. And again, second round talent, pretty good coming off the bench last year. We thought we had somebody. Second year so far is not it. P. Will, again, he's still kind of getting his feet under him, I guess, in the league, really, with all those injuries. So maybe the rest of this year, hopefully he's not injury prone, is really kind of what we're all hoping for at this point. But yeah, man, this Bulls team is just so underwhelming. It is so underwhelming. And really, I think, I forget, was it you or Jose that said it though? Like, I really don't watch basketball until January when, after football. Was it you? After football's kind of done and we know who's in the playoffs, this and that. I kind of agree here. I'm just getting sick and tired of this Bulls team looking as underwhelming as they do, because it's just one of those things where after the surprising good season last year, coming into this year, we're like, oh, hey, it might be just as good, if not better, right? But we've all seen how that gone. And of course, the Lonzo injury is still, continuing. But man, to get just blown out by the Pelicans and then to lose one towards the end of the game right there against the Magic, it's rough.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Real quick update about the Chicago Bulls. At least Zach LaVine has already doubled his total from his last game. So
hey, there we go.
There we go. Progress is progress. Before we get into their guest, let's hop on now. Let's go comments. TP, he said it's a reality check that what LaVine needed. I don't know about that. We'll get into that one in a little bit. Deontay says Zach has to figure out how to impact the game in more ways than just scoring. All the true max players are not one-trick ponies, which is true. That's a good one right there. And he said, I don't even think he's the second best player on a championship team. CP, you can't be serious.
CP.
You are serious about that, aren't you?
I'm dead ass about that. I am.
And this actually kind of brings me into something we had in our conversation. I think in one of the text conversations that we had, Eric, was a trade was proposed or like something was happening. Like, would you trade Zach LaVine for these 3 guys from Dallas?
I got you. Hold on. Let me pull up that text right now.
But one of the things was, like CP said, he can't be the second best player in a championship team. Would he be the second or third option on that Dallas Mavericks team? Because you don't know, right? Like for his contract, you'd expect at least a second with Luka there, but who knows at this point with the way he's been performing.
He'll probably be a third behind Dinwiddie.
Oh crap!
Yeah, he probably would be third behind Dinwiddie. Isn't that insane? Dinwiddie, a second option before Zach LaVine. That would be hilarious.
All right. I found it. All right. So the Dallas Mavericks. This was just a trade, kind of like one of those mock trades that people are already coming up with, saying that the Mavs will just receive Zach LaVine. In return, the Chicago Bulls will get Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Josh Green, the 2027 first round, a 2029 first round pick, and the Bulls and Mavs swap picks for 26 and 28.
I'm sorry, that's something you give up for Donovan Mitchell, not Zach LaVine.
And I mean, you're absolutely right. Like I would too, but hell, at this point, you're not really hitting the reset button. You're hitting a button to where like you fix this team quickly.
Right, but is Mark Cuban really going to want to take on $40 million a year for a player that's not even?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see Mark Cuban doing something like that, no matter how rich.
With that being said, I mean, it's kind of like you still have Luka. So it's not like you're relying on Zach to do something, right? You're still relying on Luka to be your guy. And then I guess he said behind Christian Woods this is another guy who Zach LaVine could be behind in the match.
Damn, not Christian Woods.
Even CP is like, whoa, that's disrespect right there.
It might be right. But I know John posted up on Facebook talking about he would have done this trade yesterday. I said I would have do this trade like what was it? What I put like 1 trillion times I would have done this trade. Whatever I put on the text trade.
Keep tapping the trade button until they accept it.
Exactly right. I mean, look. If it makes the Mavericks better, I guess, in some way, some form, to compete in the West, some way, some form, Mark Cuban is capable of doing something like that. You know,
he's got the money.
See that happening. It's Mark Cuban.
He's got the money.
But you know why it doesn't work? Because of how Dallas is set up. It's all about Luka playing solo ball, and if you double team him, triple team him, he kicks it out to the shooters. We take all of their shooters away. That team is just going to be, I can't get past him, so let me throw it to LaVine and hope he gets past him. It's going to be.
I was going to say, kick it out to LaVine.
Right.
And his 4 points
LaVine into a spot up shooter. That's what we're going to do. Paying $200 million to stand in the corner.
Yeah.
This is Westbrook all over again.
I honestly believe like his athleticism. I don't know. I can't. You know what? I can't even make an excuse for this guy because he could do the same thing here with Chicago. Jose, get off the comments. Enjoy your anniversary. We will see you on Wednesday, bro. Don't even think about hopping on.
Right?
Thank you very much for hopping on. We appreciate the commitment and everything like that.
How
don't get me
dare
wrong.
you?
I love you, bro. But don't be on this show. Be with your girl.
She's rolling her eyes
happy anniversary with her, bro. Get off. This is your last comment. Goodbye, Jose. Thank you for showing up.
But keep the stream in the background, though.
Why is
You're
she
not cooking for her?
Why is she cooking?
Oh man!
Then go help her.
We're gonna
go help her cook.
Back on this Bulls thing, dude. I would if something like this comes across Arturas Garza's table, yes, do it. But I will try to play devil's advocate here. I will try. Is it too early to judge Zach on not only the contract but his play so far with his lingering injury?
Nope.
It's not too early. I think so.
Nope.
I'm going to be as hard on him as Eric. I'm going to give the Bulls.
Eric hates him.
Yeah, Eric hates him right now. I think he hates the contract more. I think I'll wait till about probably like 40 games into the season until I like ready to say, okay, this is a dumpster fire.
We had 3 years of Zach LaVine already on this team. What else do you need to see?
Bulls, they're not really going off last year. Remember, It was one year where Levine averaged like 27, 28, wasn't it? Like he was looking like a bona fide star.
It was like the second year he was on the Bulls. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Bulls are sort of going off that and hoping that he somehow gets that back because DeRozan, like you said, it's like y'all said, DeRozan cannot be averaging more than him, bro. DeRozan is how old is DeMar now?
30,
in his mid
37
30s.
and a half.
63? I don't
know. 53, 62. He's up there.
He is up there.
He getting up there. He's hitting his mid 30s, and we're relying on him to be our number one option rather than a young Levine.
Yeah.
That's a problem, especially when you're getting paid that much. And when we did it, like it just like hurt so bad, but it was like, damn, we didn't have a choice to give him the money because if we don't, it makes us look bad, you know?
It doesn't make you look bad if at the end of the day, every year that we kept talking about in any sport, we've always say it's a business before anything. So if it's a business executive decision, I'm not paying a guy who barely cracks top 30 to give $200 million, then what are we doing here? What are we doing here? That's the thing.
Players pay attention to that, Eric.
I do have to agree with CP though, because I think I got to give him at least half the year to prove himself, right? But let's say, like he said, 40 games. I want 40 games that he's played, not 40 games where he's missed 12 or something like that, right? You know, I 100% played in, but it's also like, dude, like either rest until you're 100% because this load management stuff is just not working for this team.
Right. We're losing with you anyway.
Exactly.
That's so true. But again, at the same time, it's like, yes, I know last year was the first year under AK and Eversley where he's played with this new management. I get that. But every NBA GM executive owner knows each and every one of these players and what they have been doing with the team. Even though Zach was the best player on the worst team, you know where he's at. You know where his value is at throughout the whole entire NBA. You just can't be blindsided. And I get it. It's a business decision, and players look around at what you did. But also at the same time, players will also look at what you have done to improve this team, no matter if you didn't play this guy in the first place. So, yes, you have DeMar DeRozan. Yes, you did get Vucevic in this trade. But like I said, if you were telling me if this was still in play and you haven't paid Zach LaVine, you were in the running for Donovan Mitchell, and that would make this team a whole lot better. There's many different ways that players can see an organization on what they're doing, whether if they pay the players or they don't, but what they bring in afterwards. And if Eversley and AK would have done that right in the first place, what would have been the problem? What would have been the problem? There would have been no problem. And especially if the Bulls were playing better than what they're playing now, it still would have been the same effect as last year from what they did to rebuild this team.
And you see what Mitchell's doing in Cleveland too.
Exactly.
He's killing it. He is absolutely killing it. Imagine if they didn't re-sign LaVine, instead sign Mitchell. You still have Ayo there learning under him. Caruso there coming off the bench. DeMar and Vooch. Oh, dude, this team would be so much better right now without a LaVine kind of hurt, playing here, not playing there, scoring 4. I don't know. For me, that would be a much better team right now.
If anything, maybe one or two players on this current roster wouldn't have probably been on the Bulls right now at the moment, simply because you had to trade for Donovan Mitchell. Whether if it's Dalen Terry, whether if it's probably even Ayo, I don't know. Maybe even Kobe White. I don't know who would have been on that player team. What player would have been in that trade market? I don't know.
Unload Vooch and sign Drummond to what you signed him to, right? You go.
Whatever the case may be, whatever it was, we know that this team would have looked a little bit different if that would have been that case, if Donovan Mitchell would have came here. But the thing is that once again, what damned Gar and Pax throughout their whole time with the Chicago Bulls is they weren't creative for what they've had. Yes, you got DeMar DeRozan on a free agency, and yes, you traded Vooch, to come here too as well. That was probably the most creative we have seen the Chicago Bulls in like 12, 15 years. Yeah. Right?
You know what's crazy? I don't think Garpax would have paid LaVine that $200 million.
I don't think so either. I really don't. I really
don't. Imagine.
No, I really don't either. And you're absolutely right. But on top of that, at least that's a little bit more creativity than what they've had. But now their creativity took a hit because of this contract. And here's one too as well. Like look who's balling. We miss you, Laurie, marketing, and he's been balling in Utah this season too. And it's like everybody that the Bulls have had that drafted high, Wendell Carter, Laurie marketing, Bobby Portis, all those players. Bobby Portis got a ring up north in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
It's insane.
Last year, Laurie marketing with Cleveland before he got hurt was balling. Now he's balling in Utah. Wendell Carter just had a great performance against the Bulls the other day and has been balling ever since he had left. It's like you had the right players in mind. You just didn't have the right coaching staff and didn't have the right development staff along with it. And that is an organization problem. That is not the Chicago. That's an organization problem. And by the way, one trash owner to another, that's why both the Sox and the Bulls are in the same way, because the owner can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's another huge issue. Instead of giving $200 million to a guy who's going to be load managing the next season and not playing a third of the games or something, give it to the staff or something. Give it to some younger talent. Try to get some guys from somewhere to make this team better overall, instead of just like you said, just getting in cap hell.
Right. You might not know it, but players, like especially all-star players, they pay attention to how an organization is being run.
Yep.
That matters a lot. It's why Brunson, like, he went to New York, but if they still had the staff from a few years ago, Brunson would have went there. Like, how I get what you're saying, Eric, and I know I keep talking about we got to pay Levine and show that we're loyal and stuff, but like, no free agents don't want to come here if they see we're still being run the same way we've been for like the past decade. Like, just it's the same stuff, like the same about trading all these future all-star players away. Like, we sent Wendell Carter as a double-double machine. Lowry just dropped 40 the other day. It's embarrassing. It's an indictment on Chicago as a whole. And like, I'm like, it's not going to bring free agents here if they see that we're being ran like this. Like, it's like a 14-year-old is running this organization.
It's a clown show here with the Bulls. And I mean, I could care less about the Sox. They could be ran that way in the South Side for the Sox. I could care less about that. I care about the Chicago Bulls at the most. Okay, that's what I want. If Ryan Zord could give away the Bulls and keep the Sox, I'm all for it. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't.
Jack's like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
CP agrees with me 100%. The Sox and the Bulls need new ownership. I mean, yes, sure. I mean, it's great what they do. Look, don't get me wrong. The Chicago Bulls and the Chicago White Sox, the one thing that they do great is they have the Sox and Bulls thing campaign, a charity that they got going on for the South Side of Chicago and stuff like that. I mean, that's great. That's fine. Cool. That's what the ownership does for you. Like, you get the top basketball team in your city and the second best baseball team in the city. You put them together with this charity, and they do whatever they need to do for the inner city of Chicago. That's fine. But what do you have on the court? What do you have on the field?
The product that is not working.
Nothing.
Not working.
We have the creativity of a tree stump, bro. Like, it's like the Bulls and White Sox are being ran like off, like, Toby off The Office. It's just, that's just like the Bulls and White Sox being ran by Toby off from The Office. Like, that's how bad it is. It's just boring. It's just vanilla. No creativity. No jump out. Like, okay, making the Booch move, that was a nice move. That was a start. Signing DeRozan, that was a start. But now where do we go from here? Like, how do we put the work in to try to make the team better, and now we see it's not working. Now, how do we fix this? Are we just stuck, or do AK finds a way out of this?
And it sucks too, because like, not only am I thinking about the overall product of the Chicago Bulls, but like how well DeMar has performed in his first year as a Bull and now into this year. It's just getting wasted. This is a guy who got traded away from the Raptors just to see them win the next season, who went to the Spurs. Did okay with the Spurs, but was basically like all the Spurs were like, get him out of here. Comes to the Bulls, has a career year with them his first year. Then they pay Zach $200 million and they start off 6-10 the next year. Like, the bad luck for DeMar is just like, he must have done something in his prior life to just get like the terrible end of the stick here. I just hate seeing him score as much as he does, put out basically put his heart out there on the court as much as he does for nothing in return, for really nothing in return, because they're just getting demolished out there. I mean, the last year against the Bucks in the playoffs, they got demolished. His one game where he did really well, that was the only one they won. And then he's just getting demolished this year. Now he's just like, yo, can I ever catch a break? Am I ever going to win an NBA championship?
For real.
Oh man.
It's we need
let it out, Eric.
Guys.
Let it out.
We just need to do better. Again, y'all know my gripe with the Sox, right? But even then, I drink the Kool-Aid for them this year of them actually going far in the World Series, simply because I thought they had something, right? Stupid of me to actually believe that, but I honestly did. I honestly did say, I said it on a prior podcast that the Sox were going to win it all in the World Series because they literally had the best team top to bottom. Little did I know after seeing them a little bit, I'm not to be fair here.
It doesn't matter if you can have all the talent in the world. If your organization isn't ran right, it won't matter.
Exactly. To be fair here, and I'm gonna say this right now, and good thing John and Jack is here, but there's video for me saying this. I've watched a little bit more Sox games this year than I did Cubs game, right? In the very beginning, towards the tail end, and then I switched. I went back to my Cubs simply because I want to watch how they're doing and see what they did. And they were actually the better team in the second half after the All-Star break, for the Chicago Cubs. And then I still ended up watching, Iowa Cubs and stuff like that. And because when I first moved into my new house, I didn't have the Marquee Network, so I couldn't watch it. So by default, I had to watch the Sox because that's the only baseball I could see.
You are never down that bad, Eric.
Faulty said.
But once I got it, I completely forgot about the Sox. But they were boring. They weren't any good. They were the best team of being the good team of being inconsistent. They were consistently inconsistent year in and year out this year. And again, I drank that Kool-Aid because I thought, maybe they would have gone over the hump.
So did I.
Stupid of me to believe that, right? And that's what I get for rooting for a Chicago team that I never root for, and now that's what happened. And if I put the curse on the White Sox last year, I'll be proud to own that one for real, 100%. And Deontay goes, the Bulls didn't address the issue they had last season with consistent shooting, and that's absolutely right. They 100%. Literally just stayed complacent, and that was my issue this offseason. And I said it to you guys over and over. They really didn't do anything to improve at all this team. They didn't.
No, and we, even with the addition of Dragic and Drummond, like those moves didn't do anything to improve the team. It's just like, oh, hey, they're just kind of stayed even now. It didn't do anything to like jump out the page to you. Like, oh man, Drummond and Dragic, oh man, the Bulls are gonna kill it. No, it's just like, okay, they're just a little bit better, maybe for some 3-point shooting and some rebounds, and that's kind of it, right? Like maybe 3-point, because Dragic has been shooting pretty well from three, at least from the games I've seen from him.
From what I've seen, but it's like the shooting, that's one of the problems. But the main issue is like our defense has just been horrible, bro. Like
garbage.
The amount of points we're gonna, first of all, no way you should ever lose to a Magic team who's missing like 4 or 5 of their key guys.
Yeah.
Forget they're injured. They were playing like 9 guys against the Bulls. Like 3 of them were rookies, and the Bulls were fully healthy, and we lose that game. We give up 124 to the Pelicans. We give up 126 to the Nuggets, who don't have Jokic.
Yep.
We gave up 126 to them. We lose to the Pelicans without Zion, like you said. Like it's embarrassing, bro. Like these games, you would think like you go into these games, think, okay, we should have this one, like, right? I mean, the other team doesn't even have all their players. They're missing their 2 best players, and it's like people are scoring on us anytime they want to. Like It's not hard at all. I'm shocked they're even beating Boston right now. We'll see. We'll see if that holds up. But
no, it's rough. It's
a
rough
revolving door on defense. Literally a revolving door.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. And then,
I'm trying to see. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Right now, the Boston Celtics at halftime, they're plus 330 for them on the money line. I'm hitting that right now. I'm putting $20 on the Celtics to come back and win.
Don't blame you. I don't blame
$20 will win me $100 if I put that right now on the Celtics. It went up 390 plus 390.
They're up 69.53 right now too.
I took Boston on the money line, and somehow I don't feel worried. So
I love it. All right. Well, that was it for the C Red segment. Thank you, CP, for joining us on here.
Appreciate you.
C Red segment brought to you by Star 6 Media. Let's move on to Hawks talk. It's going to be a short one. Jack isn't here. Our Hawks fan isn't here right now. But let's talk a little bit about what's been going on with the Blackhawks. They've lost, I believe it's been 3 in a row, and those losses have come to, or actually it's been 4 in a row, with the recent 3 losses coming to the Blues, the Bruins, and the Penguins. 2 of these 3 games they were not in at all. I think the only game they were in was the Blues game, or I'm sorry, the Penguins game, which was on, I believe it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay, it was yesterday. It was the one that the Hawks kind of came back in, scored 3 goals, but I mean the Penguins are just too good. Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, the 2 centers for these guys for the Penguins were just too good for a Hawks team that is surprising us, but also is kind of falling back to earth. But the cool thing was the emotional return of Marian Hossa over this week, and his I guess the lifting of his jersey number, of his number to the rafters at the UC, which is kind of cool. We had video of that from Jack, I believe. We posted it up on the Star 6 Media Instagram, so go check that out. But yeah, it was an emotional return for Marian Hossa, and Jack had talked about it a little bit last episode. A guy who had played with the Hawks, I think, for 10 seasons, almost like
Damn.
decade or something. Yeah, he was on the team for a while. Yeah. But he was getting allergic to his gear, and that's why he wasn't really practicing a lot during the last season of his Hawks career. He would only play in games, but he contributed a lot during those playoff runs, during those Stanley Cup championships. I think it might be wrong on the years, but I'll double check how long he was playing on the Hawks. But yeah, he was. We had the raising of his number to the rafters, although it was to a loss. So, but the Hawks are kind of falling back down. Like we talked about last week, we're like, they're surprising us. They're not really getting a good draft pick here, but they're kind of falling down. 4 in a row they've lost, and I mean, this is kind of what you expected to see, really, from the Hawks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they were touted as going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL this year. So I mean, hey. But real quick, kudos to Marian Hossa for real. He was only him and that stretch of the Blackhawks that they had from 2010 to 20. What was it? 14, 15, 16, whatever the case, whatever how long that was up until he got hurt.
Yeah,
he was the reason why I jumped on the bandwagon. I'm not gonna lie. A guy that actually, let's be honest, he came from the Red Wings, the hatred Red Wings, and came over to the Hawks. And it was a move that created this Hawks dynasty that we saw, winning 3 titles in 5 years and many Western Conference Finals, and it was just unfortunate that his career was cut short, to injury and whatever the case that he was going through. And so, yeah, congratulations, Marian Hossa. Thank you for those wonderful 5-6 years that you were here. That won us the championships, and the first one since the Sox in 2005, and we appreciated the rallies and
definitely
parades and everything like that. Yeah, those were fun.
He was a Hawk from 2009 to 2017, so he was here for all 3 cups. And like you said, he was with the Red Wings the year prior coming to the Hawks. I didn't realize though he was with the Ottawa Senators from 98 to 2004, so he had a pretty long career. That's insane. He's 43 now. He was like 37 last time he played with the Hawks, which is insane to just think like I'm 31 here and I can barely, run a mile without getting gassed. I'm dying.
You're absolutely right. Who you telling? I'm 32. I mean, so I feel like these hockey players, they have their longevity is a very long time and stuff playing. Like there's dudes. Wasn't Yager? Didn't he retire like at 56 or something?
Something like that. He was in his like late 40s, early 50s. He's ridiculous.
Hockey players are tough, man. The hockey. If there's one credit that I give hockey players, they're a very strange breed. They go on, get hit with a fucking rubber puck in the face, lose a tooth, and then next thing you know, they're back on the ice like nothing.
Back in the game and getting hit by 250-pound guys in pads into the glass.
Right, and next thing you know, like I hear, oh yeah, this guy played with a torn ACL for like the season or something like that to help him win to the Western Conference. I'm like, what the?
You're like, how are you doing that?
Exactly. I swear, hockey players, man, they're tough. I'll give them that. They're one of the toughest SOBs in all the sports. I'll give them that.
Jackson,
That's the only credit that I'll give them, and probably the nicest thing I'll say about hockey.
I was gonna say Jack's not here for the niceness you got going on. For
Look
the
at that,
NHL.
me being nice to the two teams that I really don't watch that much, and yet give them credit, and the two people are not here. Ain't that funny?
Yeah, I know, right?
Isn't that something? Look at me. I know how to time them perfectly.
Marinosa, man, just big props to him. But the Hawks are kind of falling back to like where we expected them. 2 wins in the last, God, I don't know, what is that? 4, 8, 10, 12 games. They're 2-10. That in the last 12 games, it's insane. So they're falling back 6-9-3 right now on the season. They have the Stars going on. They have the Stars. They're in Dallas to play against the Stars on Wednesday. It's going to be a 7:30 Central game. I'm sure Jack will have all the good stuff next week on Big League Chicago. But as of right now, let's move on to our final segment of the day. 4 stars of the week. If you guys are watching, let us know what stars for Chicago you guys have. There's only 2 of us, so if we don't have anything in the comments, Eric, I think we might have to come up with 2. So
I can easily get that one.
Do you want to start off?
Can we go 1 and 1?
Yeah, let's do 1 and 1.
All right, cool. So, damn it, I just had the first one. Which one should I go with? I'm gonna save the best one for last.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my first star of the week will actually go to David Montgomery. The only reason why is because he won me my fantasy football league this week. Okay. That's the only reason why. I was down and I needed him to come out big, and his points helped me out to win these games so far. So shout out to David Montgomery.
And he got a touchdown for you too.
And he got a touchdown for me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. All right, my first star of the week is going to go to DeMar DeRozan for his game against the Magic in a loss, unfortunately. 41 points. You know, we kind of talked about it a little bit during the C-Red segment, but 41 points. And just the consistency from him, you know, since last year is just continuing and outscoring the $200 million man. I think that's what we're just going to refer to him as from here on out on Big League Chicago. So, yep. So second star of the week goes to DeMar DeRozan. Eric, you're the third star of the week.
All right. So you know how the last couple of weeks I've been shouting out the girls from my alma mater in South Suburban going to nationals and stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna mention another one. Now, here's the thing. This is the reason why I mentioned them. So the Prairie State College, those are the rivals to South Suburban College because they're only like 5 miles apart from, you know, they play every year and stuff like that. But they're the rivals of the South Suburb side of Chicago. But the only reason why I am shouting them out is because the coach of Prairie State College is a good friend of mine who lives in the South side of Chicago, grew up with me and stuff like that. He ended up being the coach of Prairie State College. He ended up taking the boys team to the Nationals as well this year too as well. And the day before yesterday, they won the whole thing. Congrats. So I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Carlos and their goalie too as well. Their goalie trainer, Victor, who they went a long way to do this. I think they were ranked 11th, and they ended up beating in the semifinal the number 1 ranked team in order for them to go into the final. So big shout out to them. I did reach out to them. Hopefully they will be on the EAFP podcast next week to have a conversation about their journey. Him and the other coach. I need to reach out to my coach for South Suburban too as well. So I'll probably have him on sometime next week too and have a conversation about that.
Awesome. Congrats to them. And hopefully they're able to make the EAFP. So you guys stay tuned for that. We got our 4th star from our boy, Jose. He goes, my star goes to Justin Fields back for carrying the Bears these last couple of weeks. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we shout Justin out. Yeah, we shout Justin out almost every week this last month, you know, the way he's played. Yeah. So, I mean, he's carried the Bears into a team to watch actually on Sundays, you know, and you couple that with the play calling and you know, the addition of Chase Claypool and Cole Kmet and Mooney kind of just emerging finally. But yes, Justin Fields definitely gets the 4th star of the week for basically carrying the Bears season this year. as an honorary, I do just want to mention, as an honorary star of the week, I do want to give it out to our boy CP for not only hopping on the comments, not only streaming our stuff all the time. He, this BLC, JCA, all the other stuff we got, but also hopping on and talking C-Red segment, talking Bears with us here on the stream. So want to give a shout out to CP. He's going to be the honorary 5th star of the week for this
well
week.
Deserved. That's probably the best one out of all the ones for this week. I ain't gonna lie. CP, way to keep it strong, buddy.
Yep, because when he's on the spotlight, he actually performs, unlike a lot of these Chicago guys, sports teams.
and the other 2 out of the 3 that isn't here. Not Jack. Jose, go back to your anniversary, man. Yes, we know CP is the man. Hey, geez, thank you for giving us your star, though, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on, bro. Because you're right. CP is the man.
All right, well,
definitely for sure.
Thank you guys for joining us on the live stream. Thank you guys for commenting, sharing, liking here at Big League Chicago, brought to you by Star 6 Media. Go and check out all of our other podcasts. Go check out EAFP because Eric is giving you guys World Cup coverage on the daily, and with a tournament this big and this important and this exciting, you guys are definitely going to want to go check out EAFP to see what he thinks about the U.S. sucking and Argentina being the eventual World Cup champions.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what kind of, in a way, I'm kind of disappointed. Not disappointed. I can't really say disappointed, but I wish the Mexico game in our podcast would have lined up, because I just wanted to see what kind of mood I would have been depending on the result.
Oh, that would have been exciting. Yeah, that would have been fun.
You get to see that emotion tomorrow at 6:00 here on Star 6 Media, and also the John Conavi Facebook page as I go live to talk about Group C and D, which is tomorrow, starting at 4 a.m. Guess who's going to be up at 4 a.m.?
I was thinking too. I was like, man, for me, the Argentina game starts at 2 a.m. I was like, God, I really wanted to be awake for that one, but I was like, I'm probably going to be knocked out. I'll be up for the Mexico game for sure.
Yeah, because that game for you is what, at 8? No.
For Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 a.m. I will be up and with my coffee and with my poncho ready to go. I just bought this the other day.
Nice.
I got the lady who sold this to me. Guy gets this straight from Mexico. I don't know where, but I was like 100% paying you for this. So worth it. Worth the World Cup.
Worth it.
Oh, 100%.
I am definitely rocking my hoodie tomorrow at work, and nobody can tell me to take it off because I won't do it.
Let's go Mexico tomorrow against Poland. Yeah. So go check out the EAFP podcast. Go check out Only Football. Actually, stay tuned for Only Football because we are going to be live streaming, Kyle and I, the rest of the Monday Night Football game in Mexico City right now. So stay tuned for that, as well as our Week 11 recap. Go check out Sports Strip Live. Check out 3 Up, 3 Down, Slot Shot podcast. I'm missing one more, aren't I? JCA Sports podcast. Yep. Go check them all out. We are taking over here at Star 6 Media, so make sure to tune in, listen, share, subscribe to us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and of course Facebook, where a lot of you guys are watching right now. So from me, thank you guys for joining again, and we will see you next time. Eric, I'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good one. See y'all next week.
See you.